5 watches under $500 have the same movements inside them as watches costing 10 times more. Not similar movements, the same movements, from the same factories, made by the same hands. Every man in a boutique in Geneva right now, paying $5,000 for a Swiss watch, is paying for a marketing story. The movement inside his watch was built by a company he's never heard of, and that same company puts the same movement into a watch you can buy on Amazon this afternoon for under $500. The Swiss watch industry has spent decades hoping you never figure this out. By the end of this video, you will. Let's start with the watch that broke the whole system open. Number 5. The Orient Bambino. Orient Watch Company was founded in Tokyo in 1950. In 2009, Orient became a fully owned subsidiary of Seiko Corporation, meaning every Orient watch on the market today is built inside the Seiko manufacturing structure, using Seiko-owned facilities, by watchmakers Seiko trains. Nobody at Seiko markets this. The Bambino is Orient's dress watch, retail, $150. The specs read like a watch, 3 times the price. Domed mineral crystal, curved glass that catches light the way a vintage Omega catches light. This feature usually doesn't exist under $500 because domed crystals cost more to manufacture. Orient put it on a $150 watch. Sunburst dial, applied indices, automatic movement based on the Seiko in-house architecture that powers watches at 5 times the Bambino's price. The man wearing a Bambino to a dinner has a watch on his wrist that Seiko engineers built to the same tolerances as a watch in the Seiko Presage line at $400. Same parent company, same movement family, same finishing standards, different logo on the dial. At $150, that's not a bargain. That's the price the watch industry doesn't want the customer to know exists. Number 4. The Seiko 5C NERP. Seiko was founded in Tokyo in 1881. In 1963, Seiko released the Caliber 16106, one of the first mass-produced Japanese automatic movements. That movement architecture has been continuously refined, updated, and rebuilt for over 60 years. The Seiko 5 SRPD runs the Caliber 4R36. The 4R36 is a direct descendant of that 1963 movement. Same architecture, same principles, 6 decades of continuous improvement on the same platform. Retail, $200. Compare what happens with Swiss brands. Every 10 years, the Swiss redesign their movements from scratch and use the redesign as justification to raise prices. New caliber, new name, new price bracket. Seiko didn't do that. They kept the same movement and made it better every year for 60 years. The result is that a $200 Seiko 5 Senor PT has a movement more refined than most sub-$1,000 Swiss automatics, because the platform is older. Not despite being older, because it's older. The man wearing a Seiko 5 has a watch built on 60 years of iterative Japanese engineering that the Swiss industry has never been able to match at the price point. Number 3. The Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical. Hamilton was founded in Lancaster, Pennsylvania in 1892, acquired by the Swatch Group in 1974. The factory today sits in Bienne, Switzerland, the same town that produces Omega and Longines. Not near Omega and Longines. The same town. The same industrial park. Retail on the Khaki Field Mechanical sits around $550, right at the edge of the video's price ceiling. But the story is worth the small overage. The movement is a Sellita SW210, the same base movement architecture that appears in Swiss watches selling for $3,000 from other brands. Sapphire crystal, 80-hour power reserve, Swiss-made. Military heritage from the actual watches Hamilton issued to American soldiers during World War II. Here's what the boutique salesman is not going to tell you. The man wearing a Hamilton Khaki Field walks into the same restaurant as the man wearing a Longines Master Collection at $1,500. Both watches were made in the same industrial district in Bienne. Both use Sellita-based Swiss architecture. Both were finished by Swatch Group watchmakers. The Longines wearer paid $1,000 more for a slightly nicer bracelet and a heritage logo. The Hamilton wearer figured it out. Number 2. The Tissot PRX Powermatic 80. Tissot was founded in Le Locle, Switzerland in 1853, the town where Swiss watchmaking was born. In 1983, Tissot became one of the founding brands of the Swatch Group. The PRX Powermatic 80 was released in 2021 and immediately became the watch that broke the Swiss dress watch pricing structure. Retail, $450. The specs read like a watch from a different price bracket. Integrated steel bracelet, the design language of the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak and the Patek Philippe Nautilus at $75,000. Sapphire crystal. Powermatic 80 automatic movement with 80-hour power reserve. That movement matters. The Powermatic 80 is an ETA C07.111 caliber. ETA is the Swatch Group's movement manufacturing subsidiary. The C07.111 is a modified version of the ETA 2824, the same movement architectural family used in entry-level Omega, entry-level Tag Heuer, and dozens of other Swiss brands charging 2 to 5 times the Tissot's price. The man wearing a Tissot PRX has the same Swatch Group movement architecture as the man wearing the entry Omega at $2,500. Same factory, same watchmakers, same tolerances. He paid $2,000 less because he understood who actually makes what. Number 1. The Certina DS Action Diver. The watch nobody is talking about, that quietly outperforms everything else on this list. Certina was founded in Grenchen, Switzerland in 1888, acquired by the Swatch Group in 1983. Today, Certina operates out of the same Bienne industrial district as Omega, Longines, Hamilton, and Tissot. Retail on the DS Action Diver sits around $550. The construction reads like a watch, 3 tiers up, 200-meter water resistance, sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating, ceramic bezel insert, the same material Omega uses on the Seamaster at $6,000. Powermatic 80 automatic movement, and here's the reveal that ties the whole video together. The Certina DS Action uses Nivacron hairsprings. Nivacron is an anti-magnetic material developed jointly by the Swatch Group and Audemars Piguet, the same material used in the Omega Master Chronometer certification. The same material Rolex now uses in their premium tier under the Parachrom name. A $550 Certina has anti-magnetic technology equivalent to the anti-magnetic tech in a $9,000 Omega. Because they're the same company. Because they use the same components. Because the difference between a Certina and an Omega at the fundamental engineering level is a logo and a marketing budget. The Swatch Group knows this. The boutique salesman is not allowed to tell you this. The collectors who wear Certina know this. And they wear the watch precisely because it says one thing to anyone else in the room who understands watches. The wearer figured out the supply chain. That signal is worth more than any Swiss heritage logo. Every watch on this list traces back to one of 2 companies, Seiko Corporation or the Swatch Group. Seiko owns Orient. Seiko builds the movement family inside the Seiko 5. Seiko's manufacturing standards produce the Presage dress watches, the same standards that produce the Bambino, at 1/3 the price. The Swatch Group owns Tissot, and Hamilton, and Certina, and Omega, and Longines, and Blancpain, and Breguet, all of it. Every Swiss watch on this list, and most Swiss watches at any price under $50,000, comes out of the Swatch Group's manufacturing structure. The movements are built by ETA and Sellita, both owned by the Swatch Group. The hairsprings are made by the same Swatch Group subsidiaries. The cases come from the same case makers. The dials come from the same dial makers. The finishing is done by watchmakers trained in the same Swiss schools. The 5 watches on this list have Swiss and Japanese engineering equivalent to watches costing 3 to 20 times more. The difference isn't the movement, it's the logo, and the marketing budget behind the logo. The men who understand this wear these watches on purpose, not because they can't afford the expensive ones, because they figured out that the expensive ones aren't materially different from the cheap ones. The $5,000 Longines and the $450 Tissot were both made in Bienne, by watchmakers on the same shift, from parts sourced from the same subsidiaries. The man wearing the Tissot walks into the room knowing what he's wearing. The man wearing the Longines walks into the room thinking he knows. Only one of them is right. Comment the watch on your wrist right now. We'll tell you whether it's the watch you think it is, or whether the marketing department got you to pay a premium for a movement you could have had at 1/5 the price. Subscribe. Next video coming soon. Some men buy the watch. Others buy the story around it.